All right, it is party time. It is Monday. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show, back in the ever glorious Mothership Studio 22, back here in the presence of the boys, Joe and Brandon. What's up, fellas? I'm glad you guys survived without me. Yeah, it feels sort of like the same look as what we had when I was in Nashville. I mean, except you're just right there.
Yeah, we can just make eye contact now.
Yeah, I can actually look over there at you guys. I'll be honest with you, when I'm doing that remote stuff like that in Nashville, it's not a comfortable thing. Yeah. I'm sitting in that room all by myself, just staring at a camera. I like knowing you guys are there.
Yeah, you need the human presence.
Yeah, I need that. I'm not built to be alone. Not built to be alone. So, that's why, trust me. I mean, if there was a way to believe in Islam in such a way that, you go out martyred and you get 72 virgins, like that's the heaven for me.
Yeah. That
would be the heaven for me.
It's a good sales pitch.
But I just can't get myself convinced of the truth of the matter on that one, But Hamas just pulled a Red Dawn Saturday morning. On the Sabbath for the Jews in Israel, everybody's seen the attacks now. Everybody's seen the social media clips. Everybody has seen, that's the one thing. We could play them, we could replay them, and maybe we will play some of them. I don't know, but you've seen the clips, and it's horrific. It's tragic. It's amazing to see people's responses to these types of things when they happen. The other incredible thing, and I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna say a couple of controversial things today, and I know you have come to expect that from me. But it's interesting that in 48 hours since that has happened, I've seen more war footage and more footage of violence and things like that in 48 hours than I have in the last year in Ukraine. Interesting kind of thing. I mean, I'm just saying that's my observation. Now, maybe you guys are watching all kinds of war footage in Ukraine. I haven't been seeing it myself, and I'm pretty adept at what's going on in the world in terms of the clips and the videos and the stuff that's out there, especially on social media. I tend to see those things, but I haven't seen a lot. What's going on in Israel, though, we're seeing that a lot. This morning, apparently, or at least early morning in Israel, in Jerusalem, I heard there were reports of more bombings even this morning. The response, of course, is going to be swift and massive if Benjamin Netanyahu has his way based on what he said. And you hate to see, it's one thing you try to when it comes to governments of the world and you want to try to pick a good guy, it's hard to do. I mean, I don't stand with Russia. I don't stand with Ukraine. I don't stand with Israel. I don't stand with Palestine. When it comes to their governments, I don't stand with America as far as their governments. And I don't hate government. I just hate this particular government. It's standing with these governments who are willing to make billions and trillions off of the loss of human life and tragedy and the loss of innocence. These governments are just showing that that's what they get off on, and we're going to see more and more of it. It's a sad situation when you have civilians that are caught in the middle of these types of things. And I wholeheartedly would certainly condemn this attack. And we'll see what happens. Because, again, it's your sons and your daughters that ultimately are going to suffer from all of these things, over these ideologies, over these differences in policy and politics. And again, ideology is a great word because so much of this is based in religion. It's based in thousands of years of history. There's atrocities that have been done to people from both sides. And you can make that argument. Now, again, Hamas is certainly a terrorist organization. They're funded by Iran. Iran is in every way the enemy of everything that we value. They want to fill the world with your blood. That's their words, not mine. They want you dead. And, of course, Hamas being that long arm of terror that they tend to utilize has struck again. And they're not done. They're not done. So we'll see more and more of this. But it's amazing to me on a couple of things. One, that our CIA, tell me how, boy, I'm going way out on the limb here, Brandon. Our CIA, you would think they would have a warning. They would know. Maybe our CIA was in on it. I'll go ahead and float that out there. They would never. Why wouldn't they do it? Of course they would. Absolutely they would. They create things like this all the time. In fact, I'm come to the place of believing that that's why they exist, is to create this type of turmoil, because it is the industrial war complex. It is the way they make money. It's the way these governments do things, and it's a sad situation. And so I'm not some foreign policy expert. I'm like you. I get the news. I try to decipher through what I'm seeing, what I'm reading, and it's hard sometimes to come up with that. But there's no excuse when you start targeting civilians the way. And then again, Hamas has a history of going and hiding underneath hospitals and hiding behind women and children, and even their weapons caches are placed in spots that you can't bomb them because there's civilians there. Now, I heard the former ambassador saying on the news the other day, said that we may actually change our policy here. Israel may change their policy in avoiding civilians in the retaliation here, because, again, they said we're going to go get them. We're going to destroy them. And if somebody's in the way, there may be civilian casualties. Again, you see the point of what I'm trying to say. That's a sad, sad deal. Sad deal. And so we're about to see probably some full-blown escalation happen in this. We already have warships, American warships, that are headed to the region. And, Joe Biden, though. Joe Biden, I'm so glad we have such a calm, collected commander-in-chief in Joe Biden, who, took forever to even say anything about it. And as we were finding out that there were not only American hostages, but Americans who were killed in these attacks, Joe Biden had a barbecue. I bet the barbecue tastes like shit, too. They don't know how to barbecue nothing in the Beltway. But anyway, Joe Biden, they had a concert at the Rose Garden. And the reports had surfaced at that time that there were at least 4 U.S. citizens that had been killed in the Hamas attacks. The number I heard this morning, I think, was 9. Don't know how many are missing, but I think you're going to see that death toll rise. And at the time, there were at least 7 Americans that were missing. And, so they threw them a little barbecue, which is, again, this administration is so good at public policy. Their PR is just spot on. While Joe Biden's shitting his diaper and having a barbecue and a concert in the Rose Garden, these things are going on. So, they did that for the executive, residents, staff, and their families. A little soiree while American citizens are being held hostage by Hamas. Josh Hawley from Missouri said, while Hamas holds Americans hostage, Joe Biden is enjoying a picnic with a live band. Stephen Miller said, this is effing infuriating. Americans are dead and being held hostage. Biden went to a barbecue and Blinken is begging Turkey to tell Israel to stand down. Never seen anything like this ever. Ron DeSantis, his rapid response director, Christina Pashal, said this disgusting. So many other, Joey Manorino, at least 4 Americans are presumed dead in Israel, and Joe Biden is too busy having a barbecue party with at the White House to care. This guy is truly sick. And it's amazing to me. I tweeted someone or X'd or posted, I don't know what the hell to call it anymore. Somebody who said, I'm so glad we have the calm, collected presence of Joe Biden in the White House. I said, are you fucking retarded? Sometimes there's only one word that fits, with a deal like that. So, and I don't care who that offends. I really don't. I'm done playing political nice. I'm done playing, the little, let's be soft when we deal with this kind of stuff. We're living in a freaking nightmare in this country, guys. And the idea of, I don't want to say anything to offend anybody. Screw that. Screw that noise. It's time to offend some people. When you got people out there parading in New York City, holding up signs talking about queers for Palestine, are you stupid? Yes, you are absolutely ignorant. These people, these progressive Riri leftists, especially in this younger generation, they want to belong to something so bad and swing their banners out there in the street and chant their little crap that they want to go out there and say things like, queers for Palestine. Go there with your rainbow flag and wave it around and tell Hamas how much you support them and stand in solidarity with Palestine. Go and do it. See what happens to you. See what happens to you. Because you may be for them, but I promise you, they're not for you. They want... You're literally the reason why they call you the great Satan. It's because of your immorality. Because, I mean, it's all of our decadence. But you especially. I assure you, they want to fill the world with your blood. Oh, and the hits keep on coming, guys. Because don't forget, we've had, I don't know, roughly 5.2 million illegals pass through our own southern border since Joe Biden took office. I mean, they're here in the country. How many of those do you think are Palestinians? How many Middle Easterners do you think that have extreme radical Islamic ideas who want you dead as the great Satan, who want to fill the world with your blood? How many sleeper cells are sitting out there in your neighborhood, in your city, around the suburbs? How many of them are sitting there waiting for the thumbs up from Iran to say, okay, start some shit in America now? And we're going to sit here and go, oh, we got a humanitarian crisis. Oh, we need to take care of all these poor innocent folks that are coming to our southern border. I mean, when 165 countries are represented at our southern border coming across, and that's who we're having encounters with. I don't know if you know it or not. You've heard me say it, but I don't think it's registered. There's not 165 nations south of us. So somehow they're finding wormholes from, Gaza to Juarez. They're here, though. They're here. They're in your cities. They're in our countries. And so all these little pinheads that are parading around, waving their pride flags and standing in solidarity with Palestine in New York City, guess what? You're going to be the one that gets hit first. I'm just telling you, that's where it's going to happen. It's going to be places like New York City. It's going to be places like Chicago. You represent the apex epicenter of everything they consider evil, and it's coming. All they got to do is go, boop, give the word, and you're screwed. But I'm sure the barbecue was fantastic at the White House. So trust me when I tell you, and they can ban me on YouTube, they can shut me down, they can censor me. You need to arm yourself. See, again, when Hamas can go through these neighborhoods and drag men and women and their children out and execute them on the street, that's what a disarmed society gets. That's what happens. And so immediately, as of today at least, many of the lawmakers in Israel were now calling back their most recent gun control policies and telling everybody to go arm themselves. So basically, they're making their law more slack and making it easier now for civilians and citizens to go arm themselves. Well, see, they've already disarmed them. So you're kind of screwed in regards to that. They get, with the gun laws, those things that these little pinheads like David Hogg out there want you to believe in. So when those sleeper cells that are in America, and yes, they are in America, when they pop off, have enough bullets, have your guns cleaned, have your magazines filled, and be ready. And train a little bit, okay? Go out there and actually do some things because, they might get me in the first volley of bullets, but I swear to God, I'm ready. I'm ready on every level. I'm locked, I'm loaded, I'm right with God, and if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. But by God, I ain't going out like no bitch. I ain't going out like that. I'm just not, one way or another. If I have to empty the magazine and save one bullet for myself, I'm not going out like nobody's little bitch. So, here we are. My buddy Emery King said, Israeli citizens are being raped, tortured, slaughtered less than 1 month after Biden released more than $6 billion in funds to Iran in a prisoner swap on the anniversary of 9/11. What does Biden do? Biden says, F it. Calls a lid before noon, throws a barbecue with live music in the Rose Garden. But don't worry, Anthony Blinken wants you to know that not a single penny of your money went to that Hamas attack. Bullshit. All right. For 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. And when I say only, trust me, they're the only one. They've been great supporters of our show, and we're just proud to partner with them. Patriot Mobile offers dependable nationwide coverage, giving you the ability to access all three major networks, which means you get the same coverage you've been accustomed to, without funding the left. And guess what? All those out there, they're funding the left. So when you switch to Patriot Mobile, you're sending the message that you support free speech, religious freedom, sanctity of life, Second Amendment, our military, veterans, first responder heroes. And Patriot Mobile's 100% U.S.-based customer service team makes switching easy. You can keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their team will help you find the best plan for your needs. Go to patriotmobile.com/chat, or you can call them on the phone if you want to talk to them, 972-PATRIOT. Get free activation when you use offer code CHAD. I spell it Chad. Join me and make the switch today. That's patriotmobile.com/chat. Patriotmobile.com/chat, or call them 972-PATRIOT. Be right back. Yeah, you always, when things like this happen, you got to have the squad popping off, you know, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, and Cori Bush, and Ilhan Omar, and all those fools. Yeah, they demanded Israel not retaliate. Leave it to a woman who ain't ever done shit in her life to say something like that. Bunch of weak-ass women. Ain't never done nothing but run their mouth. Yeah, I said it. Said what I said. Stand by it. Weak-ass women that ain't never done nothing, not a single thing in their life but run their mouth. And they're going to tell Israel to stand down. Shut up. Yeah, Cori Bush said, I'm heartbroken by the ongoing violence in Palestine and Israel. I mourn the over 250 Israeli and 230 Palestinian lives that have been lost today and the thousands injured following attacks by Hamas militants on Israeli border towns and Israeli military bombardment of Gaza. Then demanded an immediate ceasefire and de-escalation. As part of achieving a just and lasting peace, we must do our part to stop this violence and trauma by ending U.S. government support for Israeli military occupation and apartheid. Rashida Tlaib said Israel is to blame for the Palestinian resistance. That's called resistance. When you murder people in the streets, they call that resistance. Yeah, I grieve the Palestinian and Israeli lives lost yesterday. Really? Today and every day, I'm determined as ever. I can't even read this shit, man. The path to that future must include lifting the blockade, ending the occupation, and dismantling the apartheid system that creates the suffocating, dehumanizing conditions that can lead to resistance. Again, calling it resistance is bullshit. That's. I mean, listen. Here's the thing, America. You want to sell. Arms to Israel. They can afford them. Sell them to them. The problem is we don't have them. We're already 7 years behind on missiles because we sold them all to Ukraine. It would literally take us 7 years to rebuild all the missiles that we've sold to Ukraine at this stage in the game. I mean, God forbid we end up on a multi-front war. God forbid. I mean, again, they signal the cells, and you know what? They're already in the interior of our country. They're already here. Iran is just literally days away from having, the fission technology in place for, the potential to be able to eventually build a nuclear weapon. Brandon, I was thinking yesterday, like I said to CJ, I was like, what if there's no such thing as nukes?
They're just fake?
They're just all fake.
Wouldn't shock me.
It's just shit they've just used all these years to keep us under control.
I mean, those could easily be just like movies they made.
It could be movies.
I wasn't there personally when they detonated the nuke, so how am I supposed to know?
How do we know? I mean, they've lied to us about everything else.
Yeah.
There's no nukes.
Yeah, at this point, they're just bigger bombs.
No.
Yeah.
I'd say let's pop one off.
Right. I mean, look.
Right now.
Look, I'm not exactly pro-war. Or pro-nuke, but it did end World War II. They're not great, but they are an effective deterrent, one could say. Because I do think it's kind of funny at this point to be like, no, these two sides will talk it out. Two-state solutions perfectly. That's going to happen. Like, you can't be that naive anymore to think, like, these two sides can exist next to each other peacefully.
No, they're not going to.
It's literally thousands of years.
Thousands of years. They haven't. I mean, we're dealing with two brothers that got in a fight a long time ago.
Yeah.
A long time ago. And they haven't resolved that issue yet. But I will say this. Now, Israel, and again, Israel has performed their own measure of atrocities.
Oh, both sides.
I mean,
hands covered in blood.
Again. Everybody wants to don't get all preachy on me here about we got to support Israel. Well, that's a whole other. We get into a biblical interpretation on another show sometime. I'm happy to have that debate with you about Israel and the Jews and all this kind of stuff. But again, don't take it where I'm not taking it. That's another discussion for another time. But we got to support Israel. Listen, they are our allies in the Middle East. Now, I can't really tell you what exactly Israel has ever done for America, per se, but it does give us an ally there, and there's a presence in the Middle East that we can say is an ally. That's another discussion as well. But Israel has performed their level of atrocities as well, and I will say this, they don't report on those things like this is being reported on. So I want to be fair here and just say governments are evil. That's what I was saying in the first segment. Governments are evil. They do some real evil stuff to people, and it's just another example of man's inhumanity to man. Power is very corrupting and it's very violent. And along the way, they found out there's money in it too. So, here we are. So I just say, Israel, in their defense, a lot of times they will call these places and say, we're about to bomb you. Y'all need to get out of there. If there's civilians here, you need to evacuate because we're about to bomb that building. Hamas doesn't give you that kind of a warning. Then they don't send out the EBS alert. So we'll see how this thing goes. But to tell Israel at this point to stand down and not retaliate, that's not going to be a foreign policy that they adhere to from the squad. It's just not going to happen. So, and these people, they love violence, dude. They love it. That's the only language they speak. That's for sure. And I will say this, one of the Border Patrol chiefs, he made the comment the other day. He said, if the door's open, it's typically utilized. And the border wall, there was that discussion last week about Joe Biden doing what Trump said, so racist to build a wall. I'm talking about doing it. Now they've kind of backflipped on that one and said, well, I don't know that we're going to do that. But we've had an open border, folks. You can say what you want to say. We're in a lot of trouble. I don't know if we could fight a multi-front war. Listen, and by the way, if nukes are real, and I'm sure they are, before you guys start popping off at me, I'll just say that Russia has more of them than we do, okay? Just FYI. And there's no reason that China can't look at the weakness of the United States at this point and our distractions, both with Ukraine and now Israel, and go, we'll go ahead and take Taiwan because they're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything about it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen very soon. We're just going to get involved with fighting everybody's wars, funding it, printing the money. And again, what World War III is going to look like for all of us is it's not going to be blinding flashes, most likely. Might come to that. But what it's going to end up is the inflation is going to be so ridiculous, you're going to wish the blinding flash would happen. I mean, you're not going to be able to afford anything. Goods are going to be gone. I hope you've enjoyed this first world luxury that you've lived in all these years of your life. But we could very well see a lot of that end very quickly. Is it by design? Is it by plan? I tend to think that that's exactly what people like Barack Obama wanted whenever he was preaching his globalism of bringing American exceptionalism down on par with the rest of the world. Well, here we are. We can't fight a multi-front war. We don't have the weapons to do it. Joe Biden's having barbecues. So, Joe Biden got the brief on it, not immediately, 12 hours later. Let's jump over to a clip. Play clip number 5, Brandon. Clip number 5.
I got up this morning, started this at 7:30, 8 o'clock, my calls. Hamas terrorists crossing in Israel, killing not only Israeli soldiers, but Israeli civilians.
So that's 12 hours later, Joe Biden gets the call. And Anthony Blinken, of course, he said, don't worry about your taxpayer dollars. Play clip number 6.
What do you say about the argument that money is fungible? So Iran may have known this money is coming and used other funds to help fund this attack that happened.
Iran has unfortunately always used and focused its funds on supporting terrorism, on supporting groups like Hamas. And it's done that when there have been sanctions. It's done that when there haven't been sanctions. And it's always prioritized that. And again, I come back to the proposition that these funds have always been, under the law, available to Iran to use for humanitarian purposes.
Ain't that something? Don't worry about it. I mean, remember, Iran is exporting 2 million barrels of oil a day. This administration utilizes that. No, we're going to shut down pipelines in America. We're not going to be our own supplier of oil, even though we've got bigger, vast supplies of oil underneath our feet, bigger than anything else in any other place in the world. But 2 million barrels a day from Iran. So this administration has been reasonably soft on Iran and funding them quite well, honestly. And you could do the math on 2 million barrels of oil a day at $85 a barrel. I'd say Iran's doing pretty good. I would say they got some funds to actually do some things that, what was their phrase again? Fill the world with your blood. So, don't worry. The leader of Hamas, one of the commanders, he says he wants more attacks. Play clip number 8.
في ظل هذه الجرائم المتواصلة بحق أهلنا وشعبنا.
In light of the continuous crimes against our people, in light of the occupation's rampage and its disregard for international laws and resolutions, in light of the Americans and Western support of Israel and the international silence, we have decided to put an end to all of this with the help of Allah, so that the enemy understands that the time it could go on a rampage without being held accountable is over. We declare the beginning of Operation Deluge. I say to our young people in the West Bank from the various organizations, today is your day to sweep out the occupiers and their settlements from all our land in the West Bank and to make them pay the price for their crimes over the lean years. Organize your attacks on the settlements with all the means at your disposal. Torch the earth under the feet of the plundering occupiers. Kill, burn, destroy, and shut down roads. Make the cowardly occupiers understand that the Al-Aqsa deluge is bigger than they think. The day has come when anyone who has a gun should take it out. Now is the time. If you do not have a gun, take up your cleaver, axe, Molotov cocktail, truck, tractor, or car. Well, those are fun times. Those are fun times. Trust me when I tell you, Brandon, I ain't going out like no bitch. Since the early days of Blaze TV, we've been fortunate to work with the team over at Relief Factor. At the time, they brought an unknown anti-inflammatory to the marketplace that they had tested in their hometown of Seattle, and it had shown a remarkable ability to reduce pain for many different types of chronic ailments. I love Relief Factor. I love using it because it's an all-natural alternative to pain medications that I trust to keep me pain-free. Inflammation is not only the chief cause of pain, but it's also a factor in many other diseases. I feel better that Relief Factor is always working to keep my inflammation markers in check, and it works. There's hundreds of thousands of people who order Relief Factor every month. About 70% reorder it because it does work, and you can order a trial pack right now and see if it works for you. It's only $19.95 to see if that trial pack works. So $20. Not a bad deal. Go to relieffactor.com and to order, or you call them on the phone, 800-4-RELIEF. Relieffactor.com. Feel the difference. We'll be right back. So just to be clear, guys, today the White House called a lid on the day before noon. Israel's at war. People being murdered in the street. Joe Biden is called a lid before noon. Probably got indigestion from that shitty barbecue that he had at the Rose Garden. Anyway, so you guys hear me talking all the time about gold and silver. I've collected coins my whole life. I love having gold and silver. I love having physical assets. And you've heard me talk a lot about it. A lot of people have a lot of questions. You know, why should they do that? Why should they have it? What good does it do if you have gold and silver? Well, the guy that I partner with and have for a long, long time in promoting gold and silver and bullion and all the other things, we get into some vocabulary here in a minute, is my buddy Trey Bowe. Trey is the president of United Patriot Coin, UnitedPatriotCoin.com, and that's a new adventure for you.
It is, Chad. And even though it's a new adventure, 30 years of the precious metal space, long time. So it's not new hat for us by any means.
Yeah, I start reading books on coins and stuff, and Trey Bow's picture and name starts popping up in the books. Like, people respect your opinion on stuff. It's weird to me.
We've been at it for a little while, and in my opinion, it differs from a lot of people, and I think that's what people look at. I take a different approach at precious metals.
Yeah.
That question you get asked a lot of times is the same question I get asked a lot of times. What do I want gold and silver for? I can't eat it.
Yeah.
And I just kind of chuckle. I go, oh no. But you can drink it, Shot of Goldschlager's taking.
Yeah, I've seen people do it. Then you poop it out the next day.
Poop it out the next day. Take that turd, get you a loaf of bread. You'd be good to go.
Drink that Goldschlager, and you got little metal flakes in your turds. Obviously, Trey and I have a pretty good relationship. But you guys, that is the big question I get asked. I'll put stuff out there, and they'll say, well, I can't eat it. I can't take that to the grocery store. Go back, before we get into that, go back. I was in your office recently, and you had a banknote.
That's right.
We would think it's cash. It looks like cash. But there was something specific printed on that note that said what?
It was a gold certificate or a silver certificate, and depending upon which note you're looking at the time, right? The gold certificate says it was a $10 gold certificate.
Yeah, and it just looks like a $10 bill.
Just looks like a $10 bill, a little different coloring, a little different ink work on it, but it said payable on demand, $10 in gold coin.
Mm-hmm.
So what that meant was the actual gold was in the bank for the store of wealth, and that note was a receipt stating that coin was in that bank.
Yeah.
Therefore, it was just a means of transaction, because obviously if you carried around a pocket full of gold coins, your pants would fall off.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Heavy. It's weighted.
That's a big old chunk to carry around.
Big old chunk.
So they'd give you a receipt, which is where our cash
came from.
Yeah. And that's all it is a receipt. But you can't take a $10 bill now to the bank and say, okay, I want to exchange this for gold.
No, you can barely get a
Yeah.
Happy Meal at McDonald's if you did that, right?
That's the truth.
So, we've really gone to a straight fiat currency. And, there's plenty going on out there. You talked about a lot of it today. We start getting into the BRICS nation. We start talking about what this idiot that don't know how to barbecue evidently and shuts down early gets into. The same day he announced that we were going green, the very next day we've got a signing, right? And so we've weaponized the dollar. And so what we want people to really understand about it is, no, you can't eat gold and silver. And we have it 6 on the list. Number 1, you got to get right with God. I heard you say you're right with God, you're ready, right? That's not debatable on my list.
Mm-hmm.
Gold and silver are number 6. Number 2, you better figure out how you're going to get fire. Number 3, you better figure out how you're going to get water. Number 4, you better have some food. Number 5, you got to have guns and ammo. Make sure you got an extra one just in case you need it.
Yeah.
Right. And then 6 on the list, when you got enough of 2 through 5, because I don't think you can get enough of number 1, that's when you buy precious metals.
Yeah.
It's a storage of wealth in a means, right? You would have to convert it just like anything else. If you had a pile of whiskey, you couldn't take that pile of whiskey down to the grocery store and get anything, right? You would have to convert it into whatever currency they have deemed currency now.
So, at this stage in the game, you keep your safe. You got gold in your safe, or silver, precious metals. What type of stuff are people keeping besides coins, bullion, numismatic coins? What's the difference in all of that stuff?
You start getting into supply and demand. Similar, one of the easiest way, to convert. I talked to a lot of, used to be the rare coin and bullion dealer for the NRA publication. So I talked to a lot of gun guys, right? And so the easy way for me to explain that is, you've got your utility guns, right? And then, but nobody wants a vault full of high point 9mm either, right? They serve their purpose, but they're not going to carry the same weight as if you walked in with a Colt revolver from 1894.
Yeah.
Right? So it depends on what level of wealth you're trying to preserve. Anywhere from, if you're going to start out, and you really think, break out your tinfoil hat and you really think it's going to come to that, you ought to be buying shot. What shot is from the refinery. It's those little BBs that shoot off when they melt it down. Mm-hmm. It's pure silver. It's pure gold. But, Kind of like Hunter Biden, you'd be weighing it by the gram. But I mean, that'd be a way to be able to go and actually, because it's going to be hard to get change for a 1 ounce coin.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of those scenarios you got to go play out and figure out exactly what it is you think your needs are going to be.
Yeah.
And that's what we like to do at United Patriot Coin.
So people ask me, okay, where can I get gold and silver? I tell them United Patriot Coin. You call Trey Bowe, you call him on the phone, send him an email, he'll get you taken care of. And there's been times where, like if I ever have a question, I reach out to you. And then Trey's a talker, so he's going to get on the phone with me. He's going to explain the whole thing out. And I'm like, Trey, just text me. Well, once you get in the explanations, I'm like, I'm glad you called me, because the explanation was going to take more than a text. But you've helped me on a number of different things in trying to find different dealers, gold and silver, who can do appraisals, things like that. But, you guys help people in a great way that don't know where to start. Like y'all have the Patriot Pack that y'all do. What's that, like $150?
Yeah, depending upon the market, it's going to be somewhere in there.
Yeah, somewhere around $150. You get a little bit of bullion in there. You get a coin, that kind of stuff, and it's a good deal. I mean, I keep the little bag right there in the console of my truck. I always have that stuff with me. I always have that stuff on me somewhere, at least in my truck or something. You never know. You get out and about. And I'm not carrying a safe full of bullion around in the truck, but I always have some of that stuff with me. And those Patriot Packs are a cool little thing to have. So it gets people started if they haven't started somewhere. Yeah.
Also, you could increase that. I wanted everybody to be able to get involved.
Yeah.
And so I put a lot of time and effort into the thought behind that, right? There's 2 1 ounce rounds in there, silver rounds, right? There's 5 1 gram of silver, and there's 1 gram of gold per Patriot Pack. So nothing in there is a denomination over $100.
Mm-hmm.
So if and when, I mean, it's funny you say that, you carry that on you, right? I keep those on me, and I was in a conference in Delray Beach, Florida one time, and I lost my wallet, right? And in my bag, I had some Silver Eagles I was giving away.
Yeah.
And that's actually how I got myself down to the airport to plead my case for not having an ID. Was I offered the taxi guy a Silver Eagle to get me to the airport, and he took it, So, you never know when that's going to come into play, when it's going to come into hand. And the Patriot Pack, we did it in increments of 1. You can go on all the way up. It's a great way to be able to have something small, fractional, and barterable.
Yeah.
And it's going to trade at it's going to trade at the spot price of metal.
Yeah.
But, I tell people all the time, they're like, well, I mean, you can't go to the gas station and – well, no, I mean, when your dollar's no good and your credit card don't work, you're not going to be able to go to the gas station and use it either.
What I try to explain to people, too, is that cash that you're carrying around is worthless. They can make your debit card worthless, too. I mean, all they got to do is flip a button. And so I would love to know that I got something that's not going to lose its value. I mean, the standard has been gold, thousands of years. I mean, it goes a long way back. I was just in Leeds, South Dakota, the biggest gold mine in the Western Hemisphere is right there in Leeds, South Dakota. I mean, that thing goes 9,000 feet in the ground. I mean, I can't imagine how much gold they hauled out of there, and they shut the thing down in the early 2000s. But, I mean, they've been pulling gold out of there since the 1800s, right? It's been the standard. And no matter what happens in the world, that gold is going to still be valuable. I've had people pay me for doing live shows with gold coins. I'm like, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take it. That's a show, and you know what? I put it in my safe. That's a show that's still appreciating. Every time gold goes up, I get paid more on that show. It's just there. But if they make it worthless, it's worthless, whether it's cash, it's your debit card, even if you use some digital currency, which we'll talk some more about that in a minute. But I tell you what, let's go to a break, because I got a couple questions I want to ask you. And before anybody tunes me out, let me just tell you, Trey will not only help you get the gold, but when it's time for you to cash in that gold or that silver or something, he can help you with that too. He'll figure it out. You're like a one-stop shop. You got a big operation going on with there. I mean, Trey probably won't help you, but
we're good.
Yeah, y'all did pretty good.
We're good. We got you coming and going.
Yeah, baby.
Either way.
That's why I do stuff with you, man. All right, guys, Magic Spoon. You ever had Magic Spoon? It's a cereal. You eat cereal?
Yeah, I love cereal.
This is the best stuff in the world, dude, because it's actually healthy for you, and it tastes like the stuff we ate when we were kids. They reinvented your favorite childhood cereals to taste great, but 0 grams of sugar. 13, 14 grams of protein, 4 or 5 net grams of carbs. I mean, it's incredibly good. Keto friendly. It's gluten free, grain free, soy free. And you remember when you're sitting there on Saturday morning watching cartoons? It's only 140 calories a serving. Totally unlike the stuff you ate when you were a kid. So they got these treats in there as well that I can't get enough of. They got the high protein cereal bars. And eat those things. I'm always chewing on one of those things, loaded with protein. And I remember those marshmallow treats or the Rice Krispie treats you used to have on there? No, same deal. This thing's only got 1 gram of sugar, 1 to 2 grams of net carbs. So it's packed with 11 grams of protein per bar. It comes in the marshmallow or the chocolatey peanut butter flavors. So if you want to stick to the classics, these are the flavors you're going to like. Go over to magicspoon.com/Chad. Get a custom bundle of cereal and try that magic for yourself. Don't forget to add their brand new marshmallow and chocolatey peanut butter treats. So use the promo code CHAD. I spell it Chad. Use that at checkout. Save $5 on the order. They love it so much, and they know you're going to love it. They got a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. You don't have to send the product back. So get your next bowl of cereal at magicspoon.com/Chad. Use promo code Chad. Get $5 off. We'll be right back. Now, we're not going to give y'all investment advice specifically, but I will tell you, I will give you some. Get gold and silver. Get some gold and silver. I'm telling you. And if you got some retirement accounts that aren't doing anything, maybe from an old job or whatever, Trey can help you with that too. He can get deep in the weeds with you. We can do it all. Y'all do it all. Y'all do everything.
I mean, I'd recommend you hold it, but if the only option you got's a 401, that's where your money's at.
Yeah,
we can guide you through how you need to handle that as well.
Well, I just know that people get so much crap thrown at them, and you listen to the radio, you get, and there's a few folks out there that I trust. There's some folks I don't trust. There's some folks you've educated me on out there, and it's like, I just call Trey. I call you on the phone, and I'm like, hey, what do we need to do about this? And I people sometimes ask, should they get gold? Should they get silver? And I'm like, yes. Silver, you can get more of it for less on the spot price, and gold's pretty expensive right now. What's it, about 2,000 now?
No, it's come down.
Has it come down?
Yeah, bricks are starting to play a role in that. They're trying to suppress, and they're picking up
back
more.
In August, didn't they? Yeah,
they did.
The BRICS nations and trying to devalue the dollar. So,
well, I mean, that's the recourse on weaponizing, right? I mean, precious metals are the only asset that's not simultaneously somebody else's liability.
Yeah.
United States of America, usually we'd have stood up and we would have supported what was going on.
Yeah.
Now we just kind of back off, eat barbecues, and watch concerts, you know. So we're kind of stuck in a spot where, and they've divided us. So we're not really, standing here. But to get back to what you're saying on gold and silver is, it's always been worth something.
Yeah.
And that's why you need to have it. And you talk about investment advice, not investment advice. Talk about spot price. We can get into, we can start talking about GDP, the debt ratios, and we can get way deep into it. What we like to do is just keep a simple approach and hit you with some straight, honest facts, right? I mean, you go back to 1964 and minimum wage, Chad, back then was $1.25 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And a man could support his family on that.
Mm-hmm.
The thing to remember is in 1964, that would have been 90% silver coinage.
Mm.
So today you could go to some of your big online auction houses that people are familiar with, right? And if I had all the notes in front of me, somewhere I haven't looked at the market today to know exactly where it's at, but, a dollar face value is going to trade somewhere around $23, $24.
Mm-hmm.
And here in the state of Texas, if you take that at $7.25, and then you multiply that 7.25 times 24.25, today's minimum wage would equate somewhere around $197 an hour.
Wow.
Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know that most Americans are living on $197 an hour income.
Right.
But that's what happened when they pulled us off of metal and put us on this debt-based fiat currency that call it money.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you get into this whole digital currency stuff that they're wanting to push and it is centralized, the federal government with a centralized deal. It's like, we're in trouble, man. And then, as I alluded to earlier, you take this stuff going on in Israel. I mean, if a World War III pops off, which, I mean, I kind of think we're already sitting in the middle of it as we speak, the inflation's going to be insane.
It'll be ridiculous.
People are going to be. So, as you said, your list, and I've quoted it many, many times, is number one, God, because we can't say it enough. Number two, water or fire.
Fire.
Number three is water. Then food, guns and ammo, gold and silver.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's why people think they make fun of me all the time, because I'm always pushing gold and silver, always pushing, emergency food. I'm always pushing keeping your guns clean and making sure you're supplied. I mean, when I leave here today, I'm going to the gun store because that's what I need is another gun.
Well, we all need another gun, Chad.
Always do. But I have a specific reason for it. My girlfriend, she came to me the other day. She said, I need to start carrying again, but I need one that I'm really proficient with. And I said, a little tear came to my eye. I said, I got you, baby.
Well, yeah.
I got you,
can't wait
girl.
to get you to the store.
Let's
go see which one fits.
I got you, girl. All right. Trey Bowe, B-O-E. He will fill you in on everything you need to know. He's my buddy, and you could trust him. Call him up. Get on the website, UnitedPatriotCoin.com. Pretty soon we'll have a promo code over there or something like that.
Oh, yeah, we'll have it all.
But I ain't worried. But I've been with you guys, hanging with you when you've been with various companies, doing a lot of different things, and known you for years. So I'm just telling you, telling the audience, as my friend Trey's a guy you could trust if you got questions on that, or you just want to get involved with it. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So UnitedPatriotCoin.com. Thanks for coming on home, boy.
Thanks for having me, Chad.
Yeah. Well, I'll show you around the studio here a little bit some more. I'll show you Glenn's secret caves.
Yeah, it was kind of neat.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff around here.
There's some cool stuff around here.
Glenn's got some valuable stuff around here too. I'm gonna have a little heist. All right, y'all hang tight. We're not done. We'll be right back. Elon Musk came out the other day. He said the real fight is not between right and left, but rather between humanists and extinctionists. He's not wrong on that. Ted Cruz even said, clearly true, today's radical left is like Thanos snapping his fingers to eliminate half of humanity. Today's left embraces anti-human policies like the Green New Deal, uncontrolled crime, sterilizing children, unlimited abortions, and destroying the nuclear family. Someone responded to Musk and said, oddly, the ones wanting to eliminate others don't want to be eliminated themselves. That's the truth. That is the truth. So if you're, queers for Palestine, go over there and wave those banners, and let's see if you're really all about life. Have babies. It's not the end of the world. The sky is not falling. If it is, there's nothing you can do about it. Go on with your life. Love on the people that are in your life, and let's embrace some values, man, because I'm telling you, if the hard times come, it's going to expose the weaknesses. It's going to make us strong again, because that's just the nature of history. That's what happens. And right now we are exponentially weak as a species. We really are. Weak-minded in every single way, and just weak. Head over to my Facebook page, Chad Prather, and see the 10-minute rant I did the other day about just trying to get a gallon of diesel fuel and a cup of coffee. Holy crap. Our world is ruined, dude. I can't even get a freaking cup of coffee. Check it out. Go to watchchad.com. See where I'm going to be. I'll be in Birmingham this Friday night, Friday the 13th. Ooh, spooky. There at the Stardome. And then next week I'm in Terrell, Texas, and I'm in somewhere else, Texas. Cleveland, Texas is where I'll be. And then I'm headed up to the Looney Bin in Tulsa the first week in November. Tomorrow's Tuesday. We'll get into some things we missed. We love you. God bless you. Bye.